It's that time of the week again. As we get closer to the NBA playoffs and as March Madness begins to ramp up, I like to keep you guys updated on the television ratings. I mean, someone has got to do it. The media is not going to do it for you. The mainstream media, they like to selectively cover television ratings. When the ratings meet whatever narrative they're pushing, the media will cover it. Take Bomani Jones, for example. We just talked about him yesterday. The media is completely ignoring the fact that Bomani Jones, once again, is a complete and total failure. I saw an article earlier today on Outkick talking about how the media blasted Bill Simmons back in 2016 when his HBO show failed to draw an audience. But with Bomani Jones, it's strangely silent in the media. Weird. Now, when it comes to the NBA, the ratings don't meet the media narrative either, which is the NBA is as popular as it's ever been. Just look at their social media numbers. This narrative is false, of course. The NBA is at its lowest point in 15, maybe 20 years. There is no integrity in the mainstream media anymore. Did you guys see Draymond Green call them out on Monday night? He basically refused to speak to the media because Anthony Slater at The Athletic implied that Draymond Green, he wasn't working hard enough to return from his injury. He's not a team player. Now, I'm not a big fan of Draymond Green. I think he's overrated as a player, but I share his frustrations with the modern media. These people are parasites. 95% of what you read in the mainstream media is bullshit. The other 5%? Conjecture. The media, they want you to support the NBA because of all the leagues that we have. The NBA is the one that most falls in line with their agenda. Sometimes Major League Baseball will pretend to. The NFL, they will flirt with the idea of being woke. But the NBA, they don't hide their wokeness. Now, Adam Silver, to his limited credit here, Adam Silver has tried to keep the politics out of the NBA, but by the time he made that decision, it was far too late. The NBA has remained mostly apolitical this season. Past 2 years, we were talking about LeBron James pushing social justice once, twice, sometimes 3 times a week. But this season, we might have talked about it once or twice, but LeBron James has mostly been silent. But like I said, it's too late. 2 years ago, the NBA, they turned their back on America. We reciprocated and turned our backs on the NBA. They have not been able to recapture us or the casual fan ever since. There is no reason college basketball should be beating the NBA in television ratings. None. And I don't want to hear the excuses. There is not an excuse that you can come up with that justifies college basketball drawing a larger audience than the NBA. Can you name the top 5 players in the SEC? The Big Ten? The Pac-12? Hell, can you name the top 5 players today in college basketball? Even those of you who don't watch the NBA, you can more than likely name the top 5 players or the top 5 most popular players in the league. Most people cannot do that with college basketball, yet they continue to dominate the NBA in the ratings. Last Thursday night, Nets Sixers, they met for the first time since the James Harden trade. Game was on TNT. It drew the network's largest audience since opening night. Hell, this game must have drawn 3 or 4 million viewers. First round playoff games in the NBA don't draw that number anymore. Nets Sixers last Thursday on TNT, 2.5 million. It was the NBA's 3rd largest audience on cable this season. Warriors Nuggets later that night, 2 million. Last Tuesday, Warriors Clippers, 1.1 million. Pelicans Grizzlies, around 1 million. Man, that's god awful. When the Warriors, the most popular team in the NBA, is failing to draw, you know you're in deep shit. Last Wednesday on ESPN, Suns Heat, 1.1 million. Blazers Jazz later that night, 760,000. It was the least watched game on ESPN all season. But KC, the Blazers suck, and the Jazz, they're just not a strong team nationally. Yeah, I know that. So why the fuck are they on national television? The NBA has the autonomy to swap games in these national slots, but you take a look at the slate of games last Wednesday night, their options were limited, which speaks to a larger problem. Overall, the NBA as a whole just isn't that exciting. The Lakers, they suck. They're imploding. The Knicks are down. The Celtics are good, but they don't have any mainstream stars. Outside of the Golden State Warriors, who does the NBA have that can attract the casual fan? No one. Now let's get into college basketball, and I want you to remember the numbers that I just gave you from the NBA. Their largest audience last week, 2.5 million. But most games, especially on ESPN, they were struggling to attract over 1 million viewers. Big Ten Tournament Championship, Sunday on CBS, Iowa-Purdue, 3.6 million. KC, that's not fair. That game was on network television. The NBA games you referenced were all on cable. Patience, my NBA defender. I'm getting there. Saturday, ESPN, same network where the NBA is barely drawing 1 million viewers. ACC Tournament Championship, Virginia Tech Duke, 3.1 million. Big 12, Kansas, Texas Tech, 2.5 million. Sunday, ESPN, the SEC, Tennessee, Texas A&M, 2.5 million. These college basketball games absolutely destroyed the NBA last week. Now, this is not a fair comparison. You are comparing the playoffs in college basketball to the NBA regular season. I don't consider conference tournaments the playoffs in college basketball. The NCAA tournament, March Madness, that is the playoffs. The conference tournaments are designed to see which teams qualify for the NCAA tournament. They're basically an extension of the regular season. Now, the mainstream media, they will never admit it, but the NBA is struggling right now. What makes matters worse? There is no silver lining on the horizon. There is no hero waiting in the wings to rescue the NBA from LeBron James when he finally decides to retire, which does not look to be happening anytime soon. LeBron has said he wants to play his final season with his son, who, if I'm not mistaken, isn't even eligible for the NBA for another 2, maybe 3 years. And even when he becomes eligible, many NBA scouts don't view Bronny James as an NBA caliber player. But anyway, who does the NBA have right now? Who is their next big star, the next face of the league? Steph Curry is aging. He's 34 years old. Kevin Durant, aging. James Harden, aging. Luka Doncic, he's a promising player, but can he be a mainstream draw? They wanted it to be Giannis, but too boring. They wanted it to be Zion Williamson, but he's on a missing persons report. Trey Lance, Ja Morant. I mean, they're fun players to watch. The NBA marketing machine, they should be building them up right now, but they're too busy focusing on LeBron James. This is another one of the main problems in the NBA, and it's been a problem since the Jordan era in the 90s. The NBA, they only focus on one player. When that player gets injured or gets old, they're screwed. Now, before I wrap things up today, I wanted to share something with you guys. I don't know how familiar you are with New York politics, but Kathy Hochul, she's the governor of New York. And I put governor in air quotes because she wasn't elected. She took over for Andrew Cuomo after the Democratic Party grew tired of his rampant corruption. You know, I really don't understand New Yorkers. New York is a great state. New York City, one of my favorite cities, but the people who live there, they continue to elect these dumbasses. Then they complain when the dumbasses they elected turn out to be dumbasses. Last night in Madison Square Garden, the Rangers were playing at home. They were hosting Women Empowerment Night. New York Governor Kathy Hochul was invited to do the puck drop. Supposedly, she's a fighter for women empowerment. Yeah, I bet she is. I guess Leah Thomas wasn't available. She was probably too busy getting the propeller in her pants lubed up for the NCAA championships later this week. The announcer at Madison Square Garden introduced Kathy Hochul. Check out the response from the crowd.
Tonight, we'd like to salute Governor Kathy Hochul, the first female governor of New York State. Governor Hochul began her career in public service in the greater Buffalo area, served in Congress, and was twice elected lieutenant governor. Here to drop tonight's ceremonial first puck, a champion of women's rights and leader of the great state of New York, please welcome Governor Kathy Hochul. Joining Governor Hochul as center ice Ducks alternate captain Adam Henrique and Rangers alternate captain Jacob Trouba.
I guess New Yorkers aren't too receptive to women empowerment, or they just don't like Kathy Hochul. And who can blame them? They booed her introduction. They booed when she dropped the puck. But when the players were introduced, even the opposing player, both received cheers from the crowd. I just thought it was interesting. My New Yorkers out there, you guys need to get your shit together politically. Same goes with my friends in California. For the love of God, please, please quit giving us Nancy Pelosi. I get tired of watching her face not move. She's scaring the children. My nephews think when you get old, your face stops moving. My 2-year-old, for example, my 2-year-old nephew, he saw Nancy Pelosi on television the other day, immediately shit his pants. But anyway, give me your thoughts on the most recent NBA ratings. Are you surprised college basketball not only beat, but completely dominated the NBA in the ratings last week? Let me know. Sound off in the comments below. Make sure to like and subscribe. Click the notification bell to receive all notifications from the channel. Best way to contact me is by email at btlkc84@gmail.com, KC_BTL84 on Twitter. I'll see you guys tomorrow.